Minecraft is a game with a ton of items that range with lots of functionality to some items that have zero functions. But today I'll be going over some items that are virtually pointless or lack of content that basically renders them useless. While making this video, I searched around multiple forums and pages, asking people in our subscriber SMP server, as well as using my own game knowledge, and I came up with this list of the most pointless items in Minecraft. And with that said, let's go. So let's start with something that we always run into abundance of during our playthrough: rotten flesh. Rotten flesh is dropped by 7 different mobs, which actually is a ton of mobs that I had no idea about. It is also tamed by fishing. Its really only function is used to tame and breed wolves. Eating it obviously doesn't work with 80% infection rate to your hunger bar, but what is actually really interesting is that you can trade 32 rotten flesh for a single emerald to a clerk villager. And this alone actually kind of makes it worthwhile. I might actually use this in my world. So the Netherworld block is actually an interesting block in the sense where it costs 9 netherwort to make, similar to the various ores in the world, such as iron or diamond. The kicker here is that it won't transfer back. I think it would be interesting if it actually would transfer back, so you could use it as like a more compact storage. Again, like the various ores in the game, but I understand it could be used more as a decorative block rather than a functional block. So one thing that I came across was people saying chainmail armor, and although you can't craft it, I feel like it's still a key item in the armor tier list for mini games and whatnot, so I feel like this is fine. Furnace minecarts are actually one of those items that have been in the game forever but are often forgot about. Back in alpha they were used for pushing minecarts, as there were no booster tracks back in the day, and even then we still found ways to move minecarts without using the furnace minecarts. I feel like this item has a lot of potential, it just needs some reworking and tweaking around. So the clock is actually another one of those items that you often forget about that have been in the game for a very long time. Its sole purpose is just to tell the time, which, you know, it doesn't really have a whole bunch of uses. I mean, it'd be cool to see this maybe like in a crafting recipe or something like that, but until then I just feel like it's one of those useless items that a lot of people actually don't use unless it's in an item frame for decoration. It's really the only time I ever see it used. The Bane of Arthropods enchantment book, and the enchantment itself I don't think is useful, and from what I've gathered it's actually the least used enchantment on a sword, with sharpness being the most used next to looting. I feel like something simple to do with this is simply add more mobs that are affected by this enchantment, but again, most other mobs simply won't fit into the name arthropods. I feel like the only one that would work is silverfish. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, what a big majority of people said were cauldrons, due to the fact you can only fill up 3 bottles per cauldron, opposed to a single water source block and get infinite water bottles. With that said though, the cauldron actually has a couple cool features, such as being able to place water in the nether, as well as getting a comparative output depending on how full the cauldron is. I've actually seen various redstone circuits use this, and alone I feel like that makes them useful. And on top of that, you can actually use the cauldron as a workstation for the leather worker villager, and you can actually get some pretty good trades out of these guys. Okay, so as we near the end of the list here, just a couple notable mentions between the ferns, dead bushes, and dead corals. Ferns and dead bushes I actually believe have a decent texture and are actually quite used in a lot of different builds. And you know, for speedrunning, the dead bushes are actually kind of useful as you can get sticks for them. But with that said, the ugliest block in the game is probably dead corals, and I mean, you know, these blocks don't have an appealing texture at all, and I haven't seen them used in a lot of builds. I mean, if any. I mean, if you use them, let me know in the comments down below, because I haven't seen a lot of uses for them. With that said, I do however have an idea for them, and to actually make them like a fix kind of deal. So here's my idea: if you collect the dead coral blocks, it will actually save the metadata of that specific coral block and that color. All you have to do is place it by water for X amount of time, and it would kind of revive it in some kind of way. But I mean, I feel like it could be a fix. Let me know. Let me know what you think. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. It actually means a lot to know that it's actually been this interesting for you to stick around this long, and consider subscribing if you already haven't. So with that said, let's get into what I believe is the most pointless item in the game, which would be poisonous potatoes. And from what I found, they don't have a single use other than hurting the player. I mean, someone on the forum suggested that maybe making them compostable, somewhat like saplings and whatnot, but even then I feel like it's not really worth, and it wouldn't put it any higher on the tier list. I think a good idea for this particular item would be maybe to make it like a quote-unquote fake potion, and what I mean for that is whoever brews it knows it would be a bad potion, such as a potion of poison or something, and it would actually just show itself as a potion of healing or something along those lines. And with that brings the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm curious, do you guys agree with my list? Would you change anything? And if so, what? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to be attempting to do these videos weekly, so I hope you guys enjoy, and hope to see you in the next video. Hope you guys have a great day, and stay safe.